So first, I will ask you to repeat after me. So I will say Yamahang vadami tang vadeta, and you will just reply Ama bhante. So let's try that together. Please unmute everyone and keep your hands together at the chest. Yamahang vadami tang vadeta. So let's try it again. Yamahang vadami tang vadeta. So now you can repeat after me. Aham bhante tisaranena saha panchasilang dhammang yajami anuggahang katva silang deta me bhante anukampang upadaya dutiyampi aham bhante tisaranena saha panchasilang dhammang yajami anuggahang katva silang deta me bhante anukampang upadaya. Tatiyampi aham bhante tisaranena saha panchasilang dhammang yajami anuggahang katva silang deta me bhante anukampang upadaya. So now we will pay respect to the Buddha, and this means I bow to him, the one who is powerful, the one who is worthy of offerings. He deserves donations. And then rightly and fully enlightened one. So you can repeat after me. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So now we are going to take refuge in the Buddha, the Buddha's teachings, Dhamma, and the community of monks, Sangha. So when we take refuge in the Buddha, in the Buddha's teachings, Dhamma, And in the community of monks, Sangha, we allow them and we encourage ourselves to follow their example. And we are interested in their advice on how to be happy. So you can repeat after me. Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Buddha saranang gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi. Dave, I think if you mute your... yes. Okay, no, you don't have to mute yours. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi. Sanghang saranang gacchami. So now I will tell you that, I will announce to you that going for the refuges is complete, and you can simply agree saying Ama Bhante. So let's try that together. Saranaгаmanang paripunnang. Very well. So now come the five roles. The first role is I follow the role of refraining from killing living beings. Refraining means not doing. Refraining means not doing. So you don't do. So when I say I follow the role of refraining from killing living beings, it means I follow the role of not killing living beings. So you can repeat after me. Panatipata. Veramani sikkhapadang. Samadhiyami. The next rule means I follow the rule of refraining. That means not doing, taking what is not given. So we never steal. Adinadana. Veramani sikkhapadang. Samadhiyami. The third precept means I follow the rule of refraining from sexual misconduct. So that means we do not break families. So you can repeat after me. Kamesu. Michchāchāra,
Nechāvara,
Veramani Sikkhapadang,
Veramani Sikkhapadang,
Samadhiyami.
Samadhiyami.
Then the fourth rule is, I follow the rule of refraining from false speech. That means we never tell lies. Musavada,
Musavada,
Veramani Sikkhapadang,
Veramani Sikkhapadang,
Samadhiyami.
Samadhiyami.
The fifth rule means, I follow the rule of refraining from drinking alcohol and taking drugs. Sura meraya,
Suraya,
Majja,
Vaja,
Pamadatthana,
Samadhiyata,
Veramani Sikkhapadang,
Veramani Sikkhapadang,
Samadhiyami.
Samadhiyami.
So now I will encourage you to protect these 5 precepts, to protect these 3 refuges, to follow these 5 precepts, to follow these 3 refuges very well, and to stay mindful. If you stay mindful and you know what's going on in the present moment, now, here, throughout the day, all the time, then you can notice that you want to kill, you want to steal, you want to tell a lie before you do that. And if you notice it before you do that, then you can make sure that you will not do that. Okay? Life is difficult. Life is difficult. Sometimes it seems that there is no way aside from telling a lie, that there is no way aside from stealing. So we need to be mindful in the present moment to spot it. When you spot it, that you want to tell a lie, you want to kill, or you want to kill some little animal or whatever, you always know, you need to understand, now I'm going to break a rule. Because you know, because you're in the present moment, you can prevent it so you don't do it. That is why we need to be mindful. We need to observe the mind throughout the day. And therefore, I encourage you to be mindful. And then you would just reply, Ama Bhante. So let's try it together. Make sure your hands are there connected at the chest. Tisaranena saddhing panchasilang dhammang sadhukang surakkhitam katva appamadena sampadetha. Very well. So now I will wish you, may you be happy, may you be healthy, and may you soon attain the eternal bliss of Nibbana. And you can reply, you can agree with that, saying, Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Yes, very well. So, does anyone know what is sadhu? What does that mean? No one knows that? Yes, Tempo?
Maybe thank you.
No, it doesn't. Anyone else? Yes, Jonathan?
Does it mean to pay respect to the Buddha?
No. So Sadhu means well done or well said. If you agree with something, then you can say sadhu. It literally means well done. When someone has done something very well, or when someone has said something very well, then you can agree with it by saying sadhu. Okay? So now, anyone remembers? What did we talk about our last time? About the Buddha, about the prince. We were very briefly repeating and going through a little bit of new information. Anyone remembers? At least roughly? No one remembers? Okay, so let's refresh your memories. So we were repeating the information about the princess queen, about the princess Yasodhara. We were talking about how much of retinue they had. So we repeated the information that there were 40,000 princesses. The Queen Yasodhara, she had 10,000, and then in each of the 3 palaces there were another 10,000. Altogether there were 40,000 princesses. And we were discussing whether the Princess Yasodhara could be one of the 40,000 or whether she was actually one over the 40,000. But then we found out that actually she was one of the 40,000. She probably was one of the 40,000 because the princes, the other because there were 40,000 Sakyan princesses, and we know that Yasodhara was one among the 40,000. That means that it seems that in that case you cannot have 40,000 princesses plus one Princess Yasodhara, 40,001. It seems you had just really 40,000 according to the text. So that means that either the princess or in one of the palaces there were only 9,999 princesses. Is that clear? So if you have 10,000 princesses for Yasodhara, for the summer palace, for the winter palace, for the rainy season palace, but actually one of them is Yasodhara, so she is not one of the 10,000 of her own retinue. That's a nonsense. She herself cannot be her servant, right? She herself cannot be her own assistant. So you see that Yasodhara is out of those 10,000. So then how many remain? 9,999. Okay, so either Yasodhara or one of the 3 palaces had just 9,999 princesses. Okay, so I say servants, but they are still princesses, even though they were serving either Yasodhara or the prince, or they were just assistants and friends who were just around. That is not exactly clear because we learn they were personal suite. That means the people who follow behind Yasodhara or behind the prince. That doesn't tell us clearly what's going on. Alright, so then we started to talk about a very important thing that is extremely important and you need to remember it. And that is that the Prince Siddhattha, when he was 16 years old, he decided that he will go to visit the royal garden. And that means that he will have to go through the city. So the prince, he ordered his charioteer. Maybe you remember what's a chariot? That's the cart that's dragged by oxen or by horse. Okay, so the prince, he had a charioteer, that is the one who drives the cart. Okay, the driver. So the prince's driver, but because he was driving the chariot, the cart, we call him charioteer. We do not call him driver, but he in fact is the driver of the chariot. So then the prince asked his charioteer, have the chariot ready, prepare it. I will go to visit the royal garden. So then the prince, he rode in the chariot, which was very beautiful. And we are also looking at the grand procession. Maybe some of you remember what's a procession? Procession is a row of people who are walking who are walking over the street, usually wearing beautiful clothes. And in Myanmar, you will commonly see the procession of Shem Pyu Bwe, of the event where the boys become young monks. Sorry. So now what happened? Now, as the prince is walking in the street, and he is in the chariot, he has this driver Channa with him. Channa. Channa. So Channa is his driver. Now let's look at that. What happens? When thus the Bodhisattva prince had covered some distance on his way to the royal garden, the Devas conferred. So what that means? It means the prince has already traveled some distance. He has already traveled some part of the journey. And when the prince has already traveled some part of that journey, Devas, the gods, the beings in the heaven, those gods in the heaven, they decided, or they were suggesting, or they were discussing, the time for Prince Siddhattha to become a Buddha is drawing near. Let us show him omens which will cause him to renounce the world and become a recluse. So the gods, they decide that they will show him something. The gods decide that. It's not natural. It's not something that happens by chance. The gods decide that they will show something to the prince as he is traveling. While he is traveling, these gods, they will show him something so that the prince decides to become a monk. So these gods, they asked a deva, another god, to assume the appearance of an old man. What is an old man? An old man here is someone who has gray hair, no teeth, stooping back, that means he cannot stand well, and trembling with a walking stick in his hand. That's an old man here. So again, who's an old man? Someone who has gray hair. No more black. When you get old, your hair becomes black. Your hair becomes gray or white. No teeth. Why? Well, because they didn't have very good dentists in the Buddha's time. So when you get old, you don't get any teeth. Today you would usually get how do you call that? Prosthetic. Would you call it prosthetic? Oh, no.
No, denture.
Denture, yes, you're right. Thank you. So today usually you would get denture, so nobody can notice that you don't have teeth, but you know that you don't have teeth. Okay, they're false teeth. They're false teeth. There are no teeth anymore in your mouth, and you get these false teeth and you put them in your mouth. Have you ever anyone saw it? Has anyone seen it ever before? Yes. So then when someone is old and they have no more teeth, they use these dentures. And then stooping back. Stooping back means not unable to yes, unable to stand well straight, so they are actually bent forward. Okay, their back is stooping, therefore the person is bent forward and they cannot stand straight. They cannot stand erect. So I will show you what is that. So, by the way, this omen of an old man, omen is a sign. It's something that you see, something that has to show you what is right. Okay, something that should show you the truth. That's called omen. So this omen, this message from the gods, where they created this old man. Okay, they came in the appearance of an old man. This could be seen by the bodhisattva and by the charioteer. Okay, the Buddha to be the prince could see it and the charioteer could see it. But the text says that no one else could see it, because the gods created for the prince and the charioteer, not for anyone else. So I will now show you, I want to show you some pictures of stooping back and of denture, so you know exactly what's going on. You would say humpbacked, right? Humpback is more common. So look at this. This is stooping back. Humpbacked woman. Here also, he cannot stand straight. His back is stooping. Here also. Look at real people here. This is hunchbacked. Not exactly what we want. We're looking at humpbacked. Okay. Yes, commonly ladies are suffering from that. Alright, so the lady cannot stand straight. Look at this, finally a real picture. So here is a lady, she cannot keep her back straight. Alright, she needs to walk like this. It's very common in Myanmar, you will see many people like that. So this is what we are talking about. Alright, look at this. This man also, he cannot stand straight. So this kind of man he saw. I want to show you some dentures. Oh, here's a real picture. Look at this. Hunchbacked man. Old man. Alright. Now, let's look at the denture. So this is denture. These are false teeth. What is that? So denture is when you get false teeth in the mouth because you don't have your real teeth. So you see someone who doesn't have teeth or who has problem with teeth, he takes denture and it looks nice. But in fact, they're false teeth. They're not real teeth. In the Buddha's time, they didn't have false teeth. So the people were just left without teeth. Like this. No teeth. Then when you don't have teeth, then because the teeth do not keep your jaws apart, then your jaws come together so close like this. Do you see that? Or here again. You see the jaws, the lower jaw comes so close up because the teeth do not separate the two jaws. So look at that. He doesn't have teeth. So that's basically what he saw. We have all smiling, teethless people. Okay, so that's without teeth. All right, and that is what the prince saw on the way. Yes, Alison has a question.
So is stooping like limping?
No, they probably do not limp. They just cannot put their back straight. So usually when you walk, your back is straight. You know, like this. Like this. Your back is straight like this. But these people, when they bend to take something, they need to bend, right? So that they can take something. Your back needs to bend so that you can pick up something from the floor. But then, suddenly their back gets stuck and they cannot get it up. And some even find it more comfortable to keep it stooping like this than to make it straight. It is too difficult to keep their back straight. So they continue living with the back bent like this. Is it clear, Alison? Yes, Tembo?
What do they eat if they have no teeth?
Well, they can eat what you drink. So they can eat soups, and they can eat porridge. They can drink milk. I suppose that their children need to take care of them, and they need to prepare food that doesn't have to be bitten. But it's a good question, because do you know how cows die? Cows die when they do not have the ability, some cows, when they do not have the ability to bite the grass. Because they cannot bite the grass when the cows get old, they do not have enough food, so they starve to death. Because they cannot bite enough, of grass. So that's how many cows die. So they die, that's their natural way. That's how the nature is. Nature is about birth, old age, sickness, and death. That's what's natural. Not to be happy is not natural. To be happy, it's natural to suffer. So cows, they die by starving to death. Starving means that they are hungry, very, very hungry means we call it starving. So these cows, they starve because they do not have enough food. Why don't they get enough food? Well, they get a lot of grass, they get a lot of food, but they cannot bite it enough. Because they cannot bite it enough and they swallow it, their stomach cannot take enough nutrients, it cannot take enough value from the grass. So the cows then just poop, the unbitten grass. So they do not bite the grass. Therefore, the grass doesn't bring them the necessary thing for their body. Instead, the grass goes out with the poop, and therefore the cows do not get enough energy, and they do not get enough nutrients, enough value from the food, and therefore they die. Anyone else had a question? Okay. I don't see Ao. Ao, are you here with us? Oh, are you here with us? Oh, here you are. Okay. All right. So let's continue with that story so that you learn what's going on. What was the reason that the gods created an old man for the prince and the charioteer? So on seeing the old man, the Bodhisattva prince asked the charioteer, "Oh charioteer, the hair of that man is not like that of others. It's gray, it's not black. His hair is totally white. His body is also not like that of others. The teeth are gone. There is little flesh on his body. With a stooping back, he is trembling all over. By what name is he known?" That means, how is he called? What is this thing? And the charioteer replied, "Your Majesty, he is called an old man." So the Bodhisattva prince, who had never even heard before the word old man, much less seeing one, again asked the charioteer, "O charioteer, never before have I seen anyone of such nature, whose hair is white, who has no teeth, who is emaciated," that means they're thin, they're very slim, "and trembling with a stooping back. What is meant by an old man?" The charioteer replied, "Your Majesty, one who cannot live longer is known as an old man. An old man is one who has a short time left to live for." It is someone who is going to die. But the prince doesn't know what is death. The prince has never seen a dead man. So this is coming later. Now he sees an old man. So then the Bodhisattva asks, "O charioteer, how is that? Am I also subject to old age? Am I also one who cannot overcome the nature of aging?" And then the charioteer replied, "Your Majesty, all of us, including Your Majesty, as well as I, are prone to old age." Prone means that we are getting ready for that. We are ready for. Okay, there's no way out of. We all must get old. There is no one who can overcome the nature of aging. And then the prince said, "O charioteer, if all human beings, each and every one of them," that means including me, Ashin Sarana, including all of you, If every one of them cannot overcome the nature of old age, I, being prone to old age, desire no more to go to the royal garden and enjoy the pleasures therein. So the prince, when he found out that he is going to be old, he was no more happy. He thought, what's this life for if I'm going to be old? And I'm just getting ready for getting old. So he thought it doesn't make sense to enjoy pleasures if suffering is following after those pleasures. If it is necessary that you become old after you enjoy pleasures, then he is no more happy to enjoy pleasures, because he feels like, well, enjoying pleasures leads to the old age. But this is a deeper teachings that we will go through probably much later. Now the main point is that the prince was disappointed. He was disenchanted with enjoying. Why? How can you enjoy if you are waiting for suffering? If you are waiting for pain? He was not able to enjoy it. He would be happier to enjoy if it is forever, if it is without a limit. But now this is limited, so he doesn't like it. So the prince asks his charioteer, turn back even from this place where the old man is seen, and drive back to the palace. Oh, we have a mistake over here. Okay, and the charioteer says, very well, your majesty, replied the charioteer, who, instead of proceeding to the royal garden, turned back. He turned the chariot round at that very place where the old man was seen, and drove it back to the golden palace. All right, so this is something for you to think about. We all are going to get old. Everyone you know, including yourself, we're all going to get old. So if we are going to get old, humpbacked, with gray hair, without teeth, then maybe we should be careful about the time that remains before we get old. Now we are young. So let's make use of this time when we are young, and do good deeds. Let's make use of our remaining time to be kind to each other, to forgive if someone harms us. Okay? And to help as much as we can whenever others appreciate it. Some people don't appreciate help. Well then, don't help them. Help only those who ask you or those who appreciate your help. All right? But if it's about health or life, then of course you help even if they don't like it. But if it's a small thing and they don't like your help, then don't help. Doesn't make sense. So we help as much as we can. We are always kind. We always forgive everyone. We don't care that someone else is harming us. That's not my problem. My problem is that I am never angry, or try to not to be. Because we are going to get old. And when we get old, it's finished. So why would I be causing myself and others suffering before I get old? Doesn't make sense. I want to be happy. I want to make others happy. So everyone can think about that, and we will write a little note. So everyone, please take your notebooks. Mm. So first, please write the date. Today is May 28 for most of you, May 29 for RA. And then the note is coming. Okay, so these are the notes. When the prince Siddhattha was 16 years old, he asked his charioteer, the driver of a cart-like vehicle drawn by horses or oxen, to take him to the royal garden. However, one deity, a god, a deva, assumed the appearance of an old man with gray hair, humped back, and no teeth. The prince learned from the charioteer that this is an old man, and that everyone has to become old after some time, including the prince. The prince was disenchanted and lost desire to see the royal garden. Therefore, they turned back right there and returned to the palace. So everyone can write down the note, please, as soon as possible. You can do it today. If you cannot do it now, you can do it later. Thank you everyone for coming. May you be happy, may you be healthy, and may you soon attain the eternal bliss of Nibbana.
Everyone, can you guys unmute? Good. Understand, Daniel? Alright, put your hands together and let's say thank you and goodbye, Venerable Sir, together. Thank you.
Thank you, bye for
Nice. Thank you.
You guys can continue